How's it going? So I'm gonna make a video on getStaticProps and getStaticPaths. All right. So this is for next. Right now we have a system in place where you click on this, right, and it fetches data from the. So this is basically an articles, and this is ID. So this is variable, and this is the index, right? So every time we go to this page, right, it fetches data from this API, reads the parameters, which is this here, right, and then returns the article filtered based on this parameter. Okay, so if you think about it, right, it fetches the data from this massive API. There's 100 articles in there, and then it only gives you the one that correlates to the parameter. So if it's one, it will fetch one. If it's two, it will fetch two. You see in here. Now this is the way we build it is get server side props. All right. So there's a second way to do it is via get static props. All right. So the way to do I'll do it from the beginning, right? So I need my cheat sheet for this. So the first thing we do is we copy this and we change this to get static props. Everything else is the same. Now what's going to happen is this will complain that you need to create get static paths, right? This will complain. Yeah, you see? Get static paths is required. Okay, so if you go into my cheat sheet, we need this code here. Export const get static paths. Okay. It's going to be a sync function. And we can copy this code here. We're not going to return anything yet. Okay. And we're going to fetch the entire thing. So we're fetching the entire thing. All right. So now, like for it to return correctly, right, you need to return this basically object, and then there should be in it, there should be paths, and each path should have params and then a string, which is like ID number, like 1, 2, or 3. Okay. But we need to have it per element. All right. So the way to do that is we need to filter through our data and get the IDs out. So we're going to do const IDs equals data map value dash value.id. Now each value, of course, represents the corresponding IDs. Do you see? So they start to appear in here. All right. So now we need to filter through the IDs and return the object with params. It's very, very confusing, but just use the code basically. So it's going to be paths equals IDs that map value. Then we want to return an object, so we put the brackets. Otherwise, it's going to think it's a function. And we're going to return params and another object, which is going to have ID and then value, right, to string. So every value is now individual ID. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And we want to convert it to string. So we put value to string and we assign ID to it, right? And now we're going to return this object like this. Whoops. So we're going to return paths, which is an object by itself, right? Well, there is 100 objects inside of this paths, right? You see, like all of them are in here. If you can see them. There they are. And we want to also do, which is called fallback, false. So what this does is, if the path is not found, then it will return 404 error, i.e. path is not found. All right. So now this should work. Yeah. So you see now it's back to working. All right. Now if we go to 80, it will still work. 400. I think 101 will result in an error. Yoink. Not found. Okay, and that's how to do it. Take care.